All right, listen up, y'all. This is Nathaniel Hackett, and I've got to get a play in real quick. Oh, shit. Beep. It is the Pod and Long Podcast. I'm your host, Ryan. I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Megastar Mark. How are you?
I am overstuffed with turkey and sadness. That's what I am, Nathaniel. I can't wait to sit down and maybe play some Kerplunk a little bit later on with you, so that'll be fun.
You know what my favorite food is? Peas heating up in a bag. And we're also here with the Word of Drew. He's back, baby.
Okay, so I had like a whole thing prepared that I was going to say about my time away, most of which centered around the deep concern that people in Edmonton have for the Oilers right now.
Okay.
But that all got 86 like an hour and a half ago when I read the news. The University of Arkansas has rehired Bobby Petrino as their offensive coordinator.
Congratulations, Bobby!
Whoa. So he's
their OC now.
He used to be the head coach and now he's the O coordinator?
Yes.
Oh my God.
I love when this happens.
I have spent the last hour and a half trying to think of any job I've ever held for any company where I could disgrace that company in a motorcycle-based scandal where I was paying a staffer to have sex with me, and they would then hire me back.
I mean,
I cannot think of any job that applies.
This
is like that scene in Empire where Vader's hiring the bounty hunters, except instead of Boba Fett, he turns to Bobby Petrino and goes, "No motorcycles." Like, what? All of this is completely and totally unbelievable. Truly, time must heal all wounds.
My God.
Did they forget?
I don't know.
Can we send him a football foobar clip? Like we did. Here it is.
I don't like that I have this monkey paw power now with football foobar.
Yeah, why do you keep conjuring these people?
It's not going to get... I really hope it doesn't happen with this one.
Oh, no.
Like, Mark, you and I have a mutual friend who got fired from a part-time high school job for writing "Eat Me" on a naked Barbie doll that was going to be thrown away. And they said, "Don't ever apply here again." Bobby Petrino is so much worse than that.
So much worse.
Just amazing. Holy shit.
And now he's the OC for the Razorbacks.
Bobby.
He'll be the head coach before you know it.
He will be the head coach. This is 100% paving the road for him. So.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
My God,
Bobby.
that's Bobby Petrino's music.
Oh, God.
Good
God almighty, it's Bobby.
Again.
He's back.
He's driving to the ring on a motorcycle. It's great.
It kind of reminds me of Big Show on the Casket.
I love college football.
What also about Texas A&M's offense makes you think this is a
that's
good
the
idea?
other part of this.
Right.
They are so bad.
They are paying $76 million to a coach that they fired. And then somebody else was like, "Yeah, I want that OC."
Right.
Yeah, they underachieved.
Disgraced himself on this very campus before. Let's bring him back.
I cannot believe... if you had told me, like, UCLA or Cal or something like that, like, I would have been like, whatever, that's weird. That's, like, desperate, but whatever. To go back to the place that he just shit on, that's amazing.
I mean, imagine if the Atlanta Falcons hired Bobby Petrino as their OC, right? Like,
that's what this is. That's basically what this is.
What are we doing?
My God. I cannot wait to see how this plays out. I can't wait.
I've derailed the show. Apologies.
Welcome back, Drew. You've been gone for a couple
back.
weeks. We're happy to have you back.
It's good to be back.
All right. We have our Stripe Spiral, which is going to maybe be 2 hours after that weekend of college football, which was absolutely nuts.
And also, I've been carrying the torch for the Stripe Spiral, and it's really just nonstop me talking about how great
Liberty. Yeah,
right?
sure.
Yeah, it's just Liberty talk. So we'll set the record
in the college football playoff rankings.
One more.
They're 24 now. Oh, we'll talk about Liberty when we get
23 to go.
I can't wait. I cannot wait. We will have our categories. We're going to have Sad Boy Boat. We're going to have some broadcasting moments of the week. And all of our usual shenanigans. But first, we're going to start with this.
Our team's a dumpster fire, but at least that hot mess can keep you warm. Those lucky devils in comas don't have to watch this shit show anymore. Fired the corpse of Frank Reich so he can be in bed by 8. We threw the opposite of love is empathy. It's it's not hate. Carolina, oh Carolina, our quarterback still can't reach the cookie jar. Carolina, oh Carolina, we're gonna get stuck with Jim Harbaugh. And hey, the third coaching hire's gotta be the charm.
Oh, a remix!
Ballad of the Carolina Panthers. We have a second ballad, mid-season ballad update.
I love it.
The 2023 Carolina Panthers have fired their head coach, Frank Reich.
Yeah.
They have fired their quarterbacks coach, Josh McCown. They have fired their running backs coach, Deuce Staley.
What type of Madden franchise is this? Do they only all their coaches just former players of the 90s?
I guess so. So let's back up a little bit. Let's back up and let's get the full ballad.
Mm-hmm.
This was probably the last game this Carolina team could win. They played the Titans. They got beat by the Titans. They did not look good. They had absolutely no offensive creativity whatsoever after Frank Reich took the plays back over. And then David Tepper went into the locker room in front of the media and just screamed out, "Fuck," at one point. Everybody heard it. He wanted them to hear it. He fires Frank Reich after 11 games into a 4-year contract. Talk about dead money. Drew, we've got the dead money. I think we got the dead money over you now. We've got...
No, just remember the Raiders are paying 2 guys dead money.
Well, no, we're paying Matt Rule.
Oh,
I think we're still paying Matt Rule, and now we're paying Frank Reich to sit at home and get a tan.
And I don't know if you're going to mention this, but didn't Tepper also fire his soccer coach in the last couple of years? He fired
several times.
Several times, right? Yeah.
Several times. He's fired his soccer head coach, and then he had a press conference today, which I could do like a 2-hour dissertation on. I watched the entire 25 minutes or whatever it was, where he talked about how much money they make from concerts.
Uh-oh.
Yep. And how it's really not anyone's fault. And he's not going to talk about anything. And it's not Bryce Young's fault. And then he detailed the Bryce Young thing. Because somebody was like, well, did you fire Frank Reich because he wanted CJ Stroud? And he said this very confusing thing about, well, the Texans, we're going to trade with the Texans and then trade with the Bears and then do a double trade.
Yeah, that's a yes.
But we wanted Stroud at 2, but not at 1. But Bryce Young was our number 1. And we're still committed to Bryce Young. I was like, what did you just say? What did you just say, Tepper?
Word salad there.
Just like, and then he also said, this was weird. He said he hopes the next coach he hires will be there for 30 years and give the eulogy at his funeral. That's the thing he said.
Could be worse. Bobby Petrino was apparently available.
Yes. Bobby P. He's now hired. So yeah, Frank Reich. See ya. I don't think Frank Reich's upset.
Yeah.
No.
I don't think he's upset about this at all.
He's getting stay away money. He's doing great.
Oh yeah. And
He's
I think
good.
This does probably close the door on him as a head coach in the NFL.
He said his NFL career is over.
Career is over.
Yeah.
That's what he said. He's 62 years old.
Right.
His offense was absolutely boring, vanilla, bland, no motion, no ingenuity of any kind. So I think he's done. He might be like a quarterback's coach or something, but
he'd have to be like even a coordinator. I don't see it.
No,
I really don't.
He's going to go back to his alma mater as part of Ron Rivera's staff at the University of Maryland.
Coordinator.
He's going to be the offensive analyst at the University of Maryland.
Let's get all the fired Panthers coaches together in one.
There you go.
One place.
Listen, Matt Rule might get fired again.
So. Yeah, right. Right. I wonder how that works. Do you get NFL payouts if you take a college job?
Oh, I'm sure that's stipulated in your prenuptial agreement with the team.
Because he signed a 7-year deal. Matt Rule signed a 7-year deal.
But he signed it with the Panthers. How is that? Just because he signed it with, they let him go. They should be on the hook for all of it. Just because he found another job doesn't mean anything.
So now all the dirt is coming out of this, and we're hearing that Frank Reich and Bryce Young were not on the same page as far as calling plays. Yeah, just get it in.
The longer he sticks around, the greater chance it comes out, Mark. That's why he says this is the end of his of his line.
Yep, he wants to be done. The play calling was weird. Thomas Brown took over the play calling, then Frank Reich took it back because he wanted to die on his own sword. That was the quote today that I heard.
He's getting fired.
You know you're getting fired, so you might as well call your own plays and you have your own destiny.
Live and die on your own merits.
Yeah.
I still have a lot of faith in Bryce Young. He really was my favorite quarterback. I liked him more than Stroud coming out last year. I think he just needs a guy like Frank was never on board with him. I think from the start, like they pretty much always talked about Frank wanting Stroud over Young. So get a guy who wants to work with Bryce Young, who wants to build an offense around him, and I think he can still get some good years out of this guy. I don't want to bury him just yet.
Who's going to want to take this job after all of this? This is going to be, once this new person is hired, that'll be the 7th coach in 5 years.
Yeah.
7th coach, which is crazy.
I know a recently fired offensive coordinator who had the number 5 offense in the league, who used to be a Carolina Panther.
I know a prominent college coach that might be looking for an escape hatch.
Oh God. Yeah, well, we heard that in the ballad.
Yes,
we heard that Harbaugh.
Yeah,
I mean, they're certainly going to have enough money to pay whoever it is.
I truly think it's going to be like a young offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
The unfortunate thing about this is that they tried to get the Lions guy last year.
Yeah, right.
They tried to get Johnson, and he refused to take an interview, which means that he's probably not interested now, or Tepper is very irrational. So he probably is like, oh, fuck that guy. I'm never going to interview him again. You don't want my money. But that's the guy we need. Like, we need that guy.
Yeah, like a younger. I really like Bryce Young. I don't want to give up on him.
You can't give up on him, but
no.
A guy I usually always have like a little bit of a combative thought process with is Dan Orlovsky, but he made a great point this week and said you can't evaluate Bryce Young until 2025.
Absolutely.
Because you need a new coach. You need 365 days of practice, games, new system, all that. That totally sucks. I mean, he's going to have to learn an entire new system for whoever this is that comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know I'm on record with this as a parallel, but like this is Derek Carr all over again.
Yeah.
You know, Derek Carr had 6 coaches and 6 offensive coordinators in 8 years or whatever it was. Like impossible to determine the actual trajectory of his career.
Right. Yeah. Screwed him up forever, probably.
I'm curious to see how he does for the rest of this year without Reich. Like if he starts showing more flashes, then I would say that Reich was probably holding him back in terms of what he can be. Like he also was like trying to force him into being what he wasn't. So let's see him kind of be zanier. You know, let's see that kind of wackiness we saw in college. You know, I don't know. Like at this point, might as well try.
Has Carolina picked up the phone to Chicago and been like, want to swap quarterbacks? I mean, wouldn't that be the irony of ironies?
Yeah. Can we have Justin Fields? You don't need him. You're going to take Caleb Williams' dad. So
just his dad. Oh no. There's we'll get to it, but there's a death specter hanging over the
cloud over the Chicago Bears franchise. All right. I think we've had enough, but we gotta end it like
but at least that hot mess can keep you warm. Those lucky devils in comas don't have to watch this shit show anymore. We fired the corpse of Frank Reich so he can be in bed by 8. We prove the opposite of love is apathy, it's not hate. Carolina, oh Carolina, our quarterback still can't reach the cookie jar. Oh Carolina, we're gonna get stuck with Jim Harbaugh. And hey, the third coaching hire's gotta be the charm.
Please.
Woo!
Thank you, Chris, so
absolutely
much for doing that. It's my favorite. I actually listen to it when I'm not doing the show. That's how much I love it. It makes me feel a little tiny bit better. All right, moving on in the categories to what? The Denver Broncos have won 5 games in a row. Now they beat the hapless Browns, but the Denver Broncos are 5-0 in the last 5 weeks.
They
What
seem
the
to
hell's
always
going on
get.
out here?
They seem to get every team at their worst. Like that's how the Broncos are winning these
Right.
games. It's like
Also, not. So I was talking to my friend at work who's a Broncos fan who had become famous for telling me "Let's hide" as we would pass in the hallway, and he said I'm reserving judgment because he said I've already written out a scenario where the Broncos need to beat the Raiders to get into the playoffs and blow it in
Oh.
week 17. He said, but he said good and bad. He's like, if you look at the 11 guys that played on defense for the Broncos in the Miami game where they allowed whatever it was, 148 points, he said, and
Yes.
look at the 11 guys who are playing defense now. Almost none of the names are the same. They're starting to
Really?
get their defense back.
good.
He said,
Hmm.
but he said they are 32nd in the league against the run, and so far nobody's noticed. He's like Cleveland seemed intent to come in there with a quarterback nobody's ever heard of and throw the ball 40 times. He goes, if they had just run it up the middle like Minnesota did, he said Denver would have been dead in the water. He said, if they beat Houston this weekend, you can start talking about the legitimacy of the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, definitely.
Good point.
No, good on them. I mean, like Sean Payton, he's an evil. He's a fun villain to hate, but he's got that team churning right now. And
He's a happy boy.
I actually was rooting for him because I fucking hate the Browns. Like this is a good like litmus test for me. Which one do I hate more? And yes, the answer was after like the first score. I'm like, you know what? I want the Broncos to win this one because fuck the Browns.
I like the way you said that. Like, I had a long night and I hate the fucking Eagles, man.
Yeah, right.
I hate the fucking Eagles.
Get the
Get out of my
fucking
car. No, it's
Oh.
true. Like watching the Browns like fail the rest of this year is going to be really enjoyable to me.
Because it's coming, by the way.
Oh God, yeah. It's
Well,
already
now
started.
Miles Garrett is injured, so
Yeah.
that might change
Yeah.
some things on defense.
Mhm.
That's been the only thing keeping them in.
Right.
Also, the
Yeah.
Browns, like I have David Njoku in fantasy, and that guy dropped like 8 touchdown passes in this game.
That's
He was
been his MO.
horrible.
Yeah. He drops like at the
horrible.
worst possible time.
He's pretty high on the list in the last 10 years of fantasy guys who tempt you every year and disappoint you every year and then somehow convince
God.
you that it's okay the next season.
Mm-hmm.
He is so big and strong and fast, but cannot catch the
Can't
ball
play
at
football.
all.
No.
Cannot play football. All right. I'm sorry, Mark. Game of the year. The Eagles and the Bills have you got to give the Bills credit here. I mean, we didn't think they were going to win. We talked about it last week. We did not think the Bills would win this game. But they were fucking in there going for it, and they were one boneheaded move away from straight up winning this game, which I don't know how you feel about this, but that last play, I thought that was perfectly called, perfectly run, except for Gabe Davis didn't know what was going on.
Did you hear what he said after the game?
What did he say? He blew it on that play. That was the game.
They have done that play hundreds of times, and he's always broken left, or was it right? I forgot. Whatever the direction he was supposed to go in, he said he's always done it, except for that game where for some reason he went the other way.
Everything in the world. That was a perfect play call. It worked. He was wide open.
Right.
It should have happened.
Bye. That's
Wow, you're giving him the Lee Evans treatment.
bye. Like I mean,
Drop
honestly,
that touchdown pass and he's gone.
Big game Gabe.
didn't have a
Not
big
so
game.
much.
Honestly, I've been.
He was good before that.
No, like honestly, he's a guy. This is his rookie. This is his last year anyway. The Bills don't have to do anything; they just let him go. And I think they will because they got other guys who are more dynamic than Gabe Davis and who probably remember their left from their right. So I don't know. I want to see more clear Shakir. He's my favorite. But anyway,
yeah, he's been good.
It was.
I mean, this game they played a perfect first half, and then we knew the Eagles were going to come back. I mean, you just knew it. You knew they were going to come back, and they did. And they had a shot to win it over. They had a shot.
Yeah, they did.
And it didn't work out. I mean, the refs screwed up a bunch in this game, but it didn't really matter. I don't think.
No,
people are complaining about the refs, but
that's stupid.
They eventually scored anyway, so it really didn't. Like, I think that there was a there was some crazy play. Well, that horse collar
Yeah, all right.
play
Yeah,
was awful. That was awful.
Every
I
part
was
of
more
that was
upset
called
with
wrong.
the safety of the player more than I was over whether it was going to result in positive yards for the Bills. Like that's fucking dangerous to be chucked down like that and
it's
not get
chucked. His jersey's ripped,
Right,
and then they
right.
call intentional grounding after all that. That
Which,
was
by the way,
awful.
there's no chance that was a pass.
Yeah, right.
You know
It
what I
was
mean?
bad.
Like
Yeah.
every part of that was called wrong.
But it didn't matter. They still were up
Right.
and had a shot to win it.
The Bills had plenty of chances to win. It was luck. I mean, it was just sometimes like if Bass hits that field goal early in the
he
game,
missed.
it's over.
Yeah.
He missed.
If James Cook comes down with that touchdown in the first
Right.
quarter, it's over. Game's
Should
done.
have had that.
If Gabe Davis learns left from right, it's done. If the Eagles kicker doesn't make an amazing 60-yard field goal in the pouring rain, it's
amazing
over.
kick. An amazing kick. Maybe one of the
get
most
mad at.
difficult kicks in
Right.
NFL history.
I left that game feeling two thoughts. I feel like the Bills have Joe Brady is very good on this team, calling offensive plays. He is
Through 2 games, he looks good.
He looks, and against 2 top 5 defenses, he's doing that against. So I feel like they got their coordinator. I think they need. I mean, we talked about it, Ryan, before. McDermott's got to get rid of, got to stop being the defensive coordinator. He needs to give it to somebody else. Because
there were moments in this. There were moments in this game where the defense played really well too.
Yeah, but he can't be doing all that. You got give it. Honestly, if Ron doesn't want to coach in Maryland, he doesn't have to do anything. It's the same fucking defense.
He's good.
I mean, you remember McDermott was Rivera's D coordinator.
He was under Ron.
Right?
Yep.
So I don't know, like that. Give it to somebody else. Let that guy call the defensive plays aggressively. And you know what? It just not their year, and that's fine. That's totally fine.
Rasul Douglas, what a game from him. That guy finally played.
Yep.
I don't know why they didn't play him the last 2 weeks, but
Well, he played last week. He played last week. He did good last week too.
Okay. No, he played really well in this game.
They got him for like a fucking sack of footballs.
Yeah. The Eagles are good. I mean, they find a way to win. They still don't look very flawed and weird. We've been talking about it all year. Like they do these. I don't know how they pull these games out of their asses, but they have all year.
You know what this is? This is a friend of mine who's a Miami Heat fan during last year's finals was like, I don't think Jokic is that good. Because he's like, he throws up these weird like prayer jump shots and they just go in. And I'm like, I agree with you that it's unorthodox, but the frequency with which they go in suggests that this is not luck. I feel the same way about the Eagles. Like the way that they keep finding a way to win implies that they might be better than we think.
Maybe. I mean, they've other than the Jets, they've consistently pulled these games out, which is insane to think about. Zach Wilson beat this Eagles team. What a game. Very exciting game. Well played in the rain. Credit to the Bills for hanging in there. They should have won the game several times over, and they didn't.
They'll be back.
They
got to get healthy, and they got to cut some dead weight. V. Miller, maybe. But they'll be back.
Yeah. All right. Happier times for you, Mark. Your Rams. You're back in
My
the playoff picture,
always
baby.
Always on that bandwagon.
You never left.
From day one. Listen to the first week of this podcast. You will hear me talk about every great Rams, how they're going to be dominant this year. Skip over a couple weeks and back now. And then here we are. Weeks. And I'm still on the bandwagon. It's amazing.
They're 4-6 after this, I think, right? 4-6, but they killed the Cardinals. I mean, the Cardinals. It's sad. The death of the Cardinals. Yeah, it's just sad. Like Kyler Murray's gone. This team is dead.
He's even played okay.
Yeah, right. He has.
The team stinks.
But they are awful.
The team stinks. They've set him up to fail, and they're gonna move on from him. I'm pretty sure. Unless something changes, unless they win a couple more games, they're probably going to move on from Kyler Murray. And this is going to be a second or third disaster. How many times is this now that they moved on from a number 1 pick?
Do you think, though, if they move on from Kyler Murray, they got to take a quarterback, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They would have to. They would have to be in the top 3.
Oh, yeah. I think right now they're second. Right. They have to be second.
So, yeah, I think it's happening.
Yeah.
But wow,
Kyler, I think has shown enough though in these 2 weeks. I gave him my MVP last week.
He's
because I was
playing
so
hard.
impressed.
It's
Yeah.
just the team stinks.
Right. I think he'll go somewhere. Honestly, like
Yeah.
the Jets are looking for somebody just as like an insurance.
Somebody will want him. I mean, look at the
move.
Orton line. Look at the Orton line.
Yeah,
We're up
right.
to
Oh, God.
11 quarterbacks
Oh,
above
yeah.
the Orton line. Somebody will want Kyler Murray.
Somebody will want Kyler.
I was hearing it was like a draft preview, and they said if you are picking in the top, I think it was 10, and it was picking the top 10, and you don't need a quarterback, you can just fucking ransom that pick.
Yes. Oh my God, yes.
It's
I was
in this
thinking about
year. Oh my God.
I was thinking about that with the Bears. Let's say you're the Bears, and let's say Justin Fields shows you something in the last whatever,
Right.
like enough that you decide you can safely trade down and fill other gaps on that team. Which, oh by the way, that team has a lot of gaps.
Oh my God.
What's the price you could command for the right to take Caleb Williams?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, go back? What did the Chargers get for the number 1
first-round
pick?
picks?
What did the Chargers get for the number 1 pick when they traded out so that Atlanta could take Michael Vick?
Right.
It would be that and maybe a little more.
Crazy.
I mean, yeah, that set up the Chargers for years to come. I mean,
So-
that
Yeah,
set them
because
up
they
for
had
years to come.
Tomlinson and then they took Breeze in the second round.
Yeah, I mean,
listen to this. Your top
that is
5 picks.
possible, but it's the Bears. Do you really fucking believe the Bears are going to make the right choice?
No, of course not. They paid Montez Sweat, Jalen Brown money.
And we don't even know what's going on with Jalen Brown.
No, we don't.
He's not playing well at all.
No,
Right now,
he's got
number
that
1
money
pick
now.
would go to the Bears. Number 2 would go to the Cardinals. So both teams conceivably could take a quarterback. Or the Bears.
Drake
like I said,
May
if-
should not be the
right.
number 2 pick in the draft, but he might be.
3 Patriots, another quarterback team. 4 Falcons, another quarterback team. 5 Giants, another quarterback team. I guess not the Titans at 6. That'd probably be your first one who probably wouldn't draft a quarterback.
Right.
But then 7 Commanders, that's a quarterback team.
No, it's not. Sam Howell's above the Orton line. Oh, whoops. I forgot about Thanksgiving in the week before. Oh boy.
So just interesting. Just like, I mean, if I'm the
It's
Titans,
gonna be real interesting.
I start making calls. So,
By the way, nothing feels more appropriate to me than number 3 overall pick and future New England Patriot Bo Nix.
yeah.
I love
Please.
every part of this pairing.
Please.
We talk about once
They
again,
deserve
like,
each other.
quarterbacks who come out of nowhere. I'm hearing this LSU kid is getting some.
He's
Jaden?
dynamite.
Yeah, but
Daniels
like
is unbelievable.
we haven't talked about him.
no,
it's always
but
been
moving up.
It's
Hey,
because he's on a 3-loss team, and
Right.
nobody really thought he was going to blossom into this. But he has come on.
I'm
don't-
saying.
I haven't watched enough of him to know if he translates as a professional quarterback.
He's
But
pretty
boy,
small.
he's dynamite to watch.
Man,
He's unbelievable.
I'm still sticking to my right, much like I was in the Rams, always on the Rams bandwagon.
Right,
Never
that's how
left.
this started.
6 quarterbacks in the draft.
we're
this year.
talking about the
First-round
Rams.
quarterback.
But
That's
we're
what
talking about 6 quarterbacks in the first 8 picks.
I know, right? Yeah, we
Like-
just ran through that list.
The NFL is quarterback
Needy.
deficient. Like,
Yes.
there is
Yes.
not enough quarterbacks.
And
No.
I've said it before. Take a swing. You have to. If you don't have a
You have
franchise
to.
quarterback, you ain't got shit. So you
If you're
have to try.
Atlanta, that's literally the only piece you're missing.
Have to try.
Right.
Whoever
Right.
is
They had
there.
a decent quarterback.
Right.
Atlanta should take a quarterback with every pick they have in the draft. One of them's got to work out.
Try them all, like Washington did years ago with Kirk
Yes.
Cousins and
Yes.
RG3. Take them both.
I have a good
Yeah.
friend at work who is convinced he's a Jets fan and has the same idea about, except they should take like 7 left tackles with every pick and just
We're gonna
hope
get
that
one of them.
works out.
All right, Mark's Rams. They come out on top. Stafford throws 4 touchdown passes.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we got something here, or
You get that running back from IR.
Yeah, Kyron
He
Williams
looks really
my
good.
God.
I mean, in the NFC, there's still plenty of time.
They can
to
make a run here.
Yeah, right.
All right. This game was weird. I called this one only so far. The Raiders go up 14 points and then completely melt down. The Chiefs win.
I mean, it wasn't.
But the Raiders look good for the first 14 points.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you take away the first 14 points, the final score of this game would have been 31-3, and that feels more like the game that was actually played. And there's really not much to say about this game other than
No, it's
the
not.
Raiders are bad. They're evaluating all of their talent.
Yeah.
Max Crosby is amazing, and
Yeah.
Oh my
the rest
God.
of their defense might as
How-
well be us and my cat. And although again, I'll give like Spillane has been decent in their middle linebacker spot. He's kind of had a renaissance late in his career. Diablo is a capable NFL defender,
Good player.
Fun
team's
name.
leading tackler, the whole bit. But like the other 8 dudes on their defense, Marcus
Stink.
Peters is a name, but at
He
this
was
point
cut.
in his
I
career,
think he was cut today.
Yeah, he was cut.
was
today.
he even
Yeah,
better?
right.
He was cut today.
So like they're evaluating their talent, they're seeing what they got in this Aiden O'Connell kid, and they're gearing up for the draft.
Yeah.
And by the way, they better not pay Josh Jacobs.
They won't. Oh my God, they won't.
He looked
They
good in the
better
first
not.
quarter, but
Yeah.
not the rest of the game.
By the way, Max Crosby, what a tough motherfucker.
I know.
Jesus
He's
Christ.
unbelievable. He's unbelievable.
Like you could tell he
and-
was hurting in that game too. Like he shouldn't even have played. Most people are not tough enough to play in that game, and he was like dragging body parts behind him.
Yes.
And he still was impactful.
The only thing that makes me feel bad about Max Crosby, and Mark, you and I have had this conversation about different players over the years. Max Crosby is the living embodiment of all of those stereotypes of white defensive linemen. Except the problem is they all actually apply to him. Like he really is high motor. He really is an effort guy. He really does have a lot of heart. But he's all of those things embodied in one person.
Does he bring a lunch pail to work every day?
You know he does.
He's first in the building, last to leave.
That's right.
You know it.
Deceptive speed around the end.
Actually is all of those things.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
One of my favorite things about first to be in the building and last to leave was Jalen Rose had talked about this one time, and he's like, what the fuck do you think the rest of us do? Like, we're all there. Like, we all get in and do that. Like, we're all pro athletes for like, I was a basketball player for like 25 years. You think I wasn't the first one in the building to get ice and get ready to go?
Yeah.
It was funny. It was like, this is all bullshit.
Even if I'm
like,
the second one in the building, he was right in front of me. It's not like I waited
like,
an hour and a half to
we
go
walked in together, my guy. Just because I'm Jalen Rose, you're not going to tell that story. But yeah, I still like Antonio Pearson, what he's got going here. I
do
like
too.
him.
I do too, which means
Why
there's
not?
zero chance he's named the head coach.
Yeah, he's
But
like,
You don't have a
he's
great
not getting it.
tendency or record.
no,
Hire those guys who everyone likes. So-
no. Ask Rich Bisaccia in Green Bay how he feels about his chances of getting the head coaching job as an interim guy. Like, this is just who the Raiders are.
Yep. All right. Next category is give thanks. Packers and Lions. This was hysterical because last week I was on the show banging that drum, being like, the Lions are going to murder the Packers on Thanksgiving. They're finally going to get their revenge. They're finally going to win a game on Thanksgiving. When's the last time the Lions won a game? I'm sure they have. When's the last time they won convincingly on Thanksgiving? You can't tell me. I have no idea. It
My
didn't
head
happen.
immediately goes to Scott Mitchell and Barry Sanders. That was
Right.
a long
They
time
made
ago.
97,
a
maybe.
little past that with Jermaine Crowell, who was a speedy receiver.
Speedy receiver.
Yeah.
And Johnny Morton, who people said
Yeah.
horrible things
I
about.
love Johnny Morton. I love Johnny. Yeah, but the Packers come in and look like your preseason prediction, Drew. The Packers look good here and actually destroy the Lions. And Jordan Love looks great, and they win. And it's all because of the moon, which is hilarious to me.
Yes.
So I put money on the Packers because
Because
of
of
that
the moon?
stupid stat. Yes, I did. I put it like an hour before. I put $20 on them to win.
The moon.
Yep.
I'm going to take a minute just to complain about the NFL as an institution for a second.
Sure.
It was Thanksgiving,
Hmm.
and the entire league was celebrating John Madden
Yes.
and his Thanksgiving calls and
Yes,
Thanksgiving
yes.
memories over the years.
Yes. Yes.
What
We should-
team didn't play on Thanksgiving
know,
that has
right?
direct ties to John Madden?
The Raiders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about that?
Also, there was a game where they gave no turkey out.
Because
I think it was
Yeah.
this game.
Greg
game
Olsen fucked up the turkey.
They gave no turkey out.
Yeah.
And that's the whole Madden thing.
Mm-hmm. There's
Like,
a
what are you
reason for it,
doing?
though. Did you hear the reason? Did you hear that?
What was the
I-
reason?
On the pregame or during the show, was it Greg Olsen? He's the commentator for this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Greg's
great.
He was doing like a something before the show, before they even went live. And so if you watch like the pregame, you would see it. And he had like a turkey and he was like tearing it apart for making some sort of point. That was the turkey they were supposed to use later.
Oh,
And they just put it aside and they're like, where's that turkey? And they're like, oh, Greg Olsen destroyed it like 3 hours ago.
Jesus Christ.
And so they didn't have a turkey.
where's your stage manager?
I know.
Somebody's got to be like, no, Greg.
Well,
Yeah.
Either that or the stage manager has to tell the ops manager, go buy another fucking turkey.
Right. Like I'm about to say, you do have. I mean, it's 3 hours.
It's
You're not
so
gonna eat
easy.
this.
It's
Just
so
make it look like-
easy. Oh my god. Let me just say this, because I never really watched the Fox pregame or the CBS pregame or any of them. I just kind of dip into the games when they start. This is the first time in the whole season I've actually watched the Fox pregame show. It's fucking terrible.
It's real bad.
The corpse of Terry. They literally wheel Terry Bradshaw out there and like, remember who you are, sir. And he doesn't say anything. And then they have Jimmy Johnson, who's well past his prime. Strahan's trying to hold this thing down by himself. Gronk is decent, I guess, for what they want. It's so bad. That show is terrible.
And they, as an occasional media professional, like just the number of people they have on that show
like
is
18 guys.
Yeah, it's very.
You know, they go
And then
stand
they
in
have,
front,
like-
they go stand in front of the wall or whatever. There's like 7 dudes out there. That's way too many.
And then they cut to like guys who are like they're tailgating expert or they're betting expert.
Yes. Who are all these other fucking people?
Dude,
They have this lady doing this comedy bit, which fine, you know, you want to do a comedy bit, fine. But like, who the fuck is this person? This is like the 18th person I've seen before this game.
That's all right. Terry says the same thing before every.
He didn't say a word. He just wore that stupid hat, and then he just stood there in silence. And then Jimmy Johnson was like, "Oh, come on, kids!
You can't have Jimmy Johnson leave the set because Tom Coughlin will finish the job. He's just anxiously waiting off camera
with a
all
knife.
time to kill him.
He's got a knife.
Tom Coughlin doesn't need a knife.
Oh yeah, he uses
He's gonna just choke him out with his bare.
Remember
BC.
And you know he's just watching him.
Yeah. Right.
Oh my god.
I love Tom Coughlin so much.
I do too. The Packers win. Packers. This is how they should look, and all their weapons paid dividends here. Finally,
I felt like this is indicative of how this team will be maybe next year.
Yeah.
Where there's these chances when they come, they pull together,
have
and they
something.
look great.
They have
They're just
something.
still young, and they are very young.
They're very young.
I think they just need a little bit more experience, but I think this team, you might have been 1 year off, Drew, but I really do think this team is going to be very good very shortly.
I don't think they're that far away.
I don't
really
agree.
don't.
They're not.
And
They have a
I
lot
know
of
people are
pieces.
up and down on Jordan Love. I still think Jordan Love could be really good.
You look
He
awesome.
Yeah, he looked great.
Because
in this
when
game.
he's on, he's on.
Yep.
Yeah.
When
When he throws a great pass, it looks great.
when he's on, he is everything that Trevor Lawrence was supposed to be by this point.
Yes.
You know, like if
Great
Trevor
point.
Lawrence constantly plays at the B+ Trevor Lawrence level,
Yes.
Jordan Love is capable of reaching A+ Trevor Lawrence level.
Yeah,
He just doesn't do it all the time.
What a great
Right.
comparison, Drew. That is so dead on.
We've been saying it all year. He looks great
Mhm.
at times. Like Love looks really good.
Get him some
Yeah.
weapons. You know, that he needs something there. I mean, I like Watson, but like he needs some more help.
Dobbs, whatever.
Yeah.
He's played okay.
Yeah.
The tight ends played pretty well. There's pieces there. They
There
have
are.
something to work with. All right. The other give thanks category. The 49ers. Basically boat race the Seahawks,
Yeah.
but a couple of weird, like a pick 6 by Brock Purdy, a couple of weird moments where it's like, oh, Seahawks might get back in, but they never did.
Yeah.
49ers win. Seahawks are basically dead. So congratulations to you, Mark. This was it.
I enjoyed it.
They needed to win this, and they got
The schedule gets
blitzkrieged.
harder too. So
Yeah.
like they're not looking good, which is good for the NFL to not have Pete Carroll around.
I'm not. Thank you.
Cameo.
Yep.
I don't want to come down too hard on the Niners because I think the Niners are really good.
They're so good.
I am a little bit surprised that this coming weekend the Eagles are road favorites going into San Francisco.
Yeah.
It's just hard to bet against the Eagles at this point.
It's
I
also
know.
like it is, but like man, that East to West Coast road trip.
yeah,
not
this is
easy.
a very losable.
It's not
This is-
easy. And San Francisco's really good.
Right.
they are.
And they just the Eagles played a very, very tough game in
And the
cold
Niners
weather.
didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the Niners kind of coasted. So this will be interesting.
Yeah. I'm really interested in that game. That's going to
Yeah.
be a
Oh,
big
I do.
time game. to see what's going on. Because that's pretty much like the rest of the NFC is such trash. That's got to be the NFC
Well,
Championship.
Dallas is pretty good.
Dallas
This is a conversation we may have already had this season, but like, let's fast forward a little bit. Let's say the 49ers win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
How much money does Brock Purdy command in his contract negotiation?
Joe Flacco money. He's going to get Joe Flacco money.
He doesn't strike me as a Patrick Mahomes money kind of guy. But is he going to ask for Patrick Mahomes money?
He's going to ask for Jaylen Brown money.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
Jaylen Brown
this could get ugly.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have
to pay him. He's not going to get Jaylen Brown money. Jaylen Brown makes more than Patrick Mahomes. Which was the whole point of the Jaylen Brown money conversation.
Yeah, and he's not even good. Jaylen Brown can't dribble with a left hand. He can't even dribble with his left hand.
Well, hold on. I mean, Jerry West is the man the logo is based on. And one of his critics once said, if Jerry West had to feed himself left-handed, he'd starve. So,
God.
So you can have a full career only dribbling with one hand.
You can pull it off.
You are killing me.
Jalen and Jerry are not the same person.
No.
They're not even close.
No, Jerry West has won a lot more titles than Jaylen Brown has to this point.
Yeah, being one.
Which is to say he's won any. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
All right, next category, which was also Thanksgiving. One step closer to Maryland. Cowboys love to murder these teams that stink. And God, they did it again.
Yes.
They did it. Oops, they did it again. They murder the Commanders. And after that game, my father-in-law is a big NFL fan. And he turned to me and goes, I'm sorry, but Ron Rivera is getting fired tomorrow. And I said, yeah, I think you're right. I think he is going to get fired tomorrow. And then we got up the next morning, got our coffee, and it was on Thanksgiving over there at his house. And he goes, Jack Del Rio?
Yeah.
Well, and I go, well, he did say the thing about the dust up. And
yeah,
was like,
another football bar inductee.
Yeah, he's already in the foo bar.
Yeah,
but Ron Rivera does not get fired somehow. But Jack Del Rio does in this absolute disaster for the Commanders. Absolute disaster.
I feel like Ron has enough like goodwill built up where he's not going to be fired. He'll get fired, but it'll be at the end of the year, where he can kind of like bow out gracefully. But yeah, like the Cowboys, we've talked about it so many times. I don't know what else you can really add to this. This is their fucking game. If you don't stand a chance, if you are a significant, a step down in talent, they're just going to run up the score on you because that's what they love doing. Because when they play real teams and it's a close game, they struggle.
Right.
So they got to get these wins.
They're going to get beat by the 49ers in the playoffs for like the fourth year in a row.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to see that happen.
And by the way, it's not going to be competitive.
No, it won't be.
They're going to lose that game by 3 scores.
Yeah, it'll be in the wild card round too. It'll be like early done. So.
I love this is in broadcasting moments of the week, so we can skip over that when we get there. But the Nance call of the Deron Bland pick 6 to break the record because the game was so boring and out of hand. Mm-hmm. He called that like the David Tyree helmet catch. He's like, oh my God, he's gonna do it. He broke the record. Because what else was he gonna get excited about? I loved it.
I talked about it last week. He's a good player, but there's a lot of Mike Brown in that guy.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I don't see this happening next year. So
no chance.
Yeah.
I mean, he's made great plays. I mean, his pick against the Panthers, his pick 6 against them was a great fucking play. There's no getting around it. It's true. But yeah, Cowboys kill the Commanders. We're just one step closer to the Maryland Terrapins.
That's right.
All right, continuing. Oh God, please!
It's all coming together.
It's all gonna be
all
a thing.
Coming together.
Jack Del Rio. Oh wait,
Jack Del Rio. We go to the final Thanksgiving game, which was the first ever Black Friday game. The Hail Mary. That's all you need to talk about here. The Jets do it again on Thankssgiving. They fucking come up with an iconic play on Thanksgiving. Thank you, Jets. That's all we need to say, right? Boyle, who was a terrible college quarterback, he had 1 touchdown, 13 picks in his college career, gets a start here, throws a Hail Mary with no time left in the second quarter, picked off by the Dolphins. They run it back for a pick 6 with no time left. is the ultimate Jets thing.
Yeah.
The ultimate Jets thing.
There is, though, something you can say, which is, Ryan, have you ever played the game Operation? Now, it's a fun game. You just sit there, and there's little bones everywhere, and you try not to touch this. Oh, shit, I missed the call again.
I did it again.
Oh, that's all right. He'll be fine.
Nathaniel
Anyway,
Hackett voice is back. Boyle, no, this is a Hail Mary, and this is super important, but can you please tell me about your favorite Monopoly game with your family? Oh shit, the time's up. Beep.
so what board games do you think are too much for Hackett? Like, what
Yeah.
ones won't Risk? Yeah, he would
Oh
not
yeah,
want
he
to
doesn't
play
like
Risk.
that. He doesn't
I think
like that.
anything involving like Clue, he probably wouldn't be good at
Clue
either.
is too much.
No.
Anything that involves like next level thinking, Scrabble,
Yeah.
he would be real bad at that.
Boyle, I got to tell you something real quick. Settlers of Catan, that's too much for me.
Yeah, no way.
I don't like that game. I'm more of an apples to apples. Beep.
Yeah. So I'm stuck in molasses swamp, right? And I just can't roll my way out here. I know the candy cave's over there. I just can't get to it. Tim, yeah, beep. Oh shit.
You ever play Shoots and Ladders?
Robert, don't kill me again. Yay. Look what you missed, Drew.
Oh, I
you
heard
missed 10 minutes of Nathaniel Hackett voice, which
we
his
have
voice
to entertain ourselves during these Jets games.
Yeah,
okay?
right. He doesn't have a southern accent, but that's
No.
my favorite.
No, not at all.
He doesn't have a
He
southern accent.
he really is the mascot of this podcast, because even last year we had him playing with Etch-a-Sketches and looking the wrong direction and having a life coach for his life coach.
A life coach.
Yeah. So
He had a life
he's also
coach.
the only ever in-season induction into football FUBAR who's actively still there, who's actively still playing, got inducted. So,
Oh man. Yeah.
um,
He's my favorite.
Dolphins look great.
Yeah, they
So
did.
there we
that,
go.
that was easy.
Tua had a chunk torn out of his arm. That was pretty gross.
It looked really bad because of his tattoos. So it was
Yeah.
like ugh.
It literally looked like it was a puzzle piece. It was just
Yeah.
such a weird like cut.
You
to
ever
it.
do a puzzle?
I don't like puzzles.
I don't like puzzles. It's too many pieces.
I prefer
You know what?
sorry.
I prefer checkers to chess.
Yeah, right.
It's easier.
If I don't have checkers, then Kerplunk. That's my favorite. Because the best part about Kerplunk is that the name of the game is the sound it makes. I don't know if you knew that.
Robert Sala's just like,
Right?
fucking Christ.
God damn it. Tua, by the way, I think one thing nobody's talked about, his contract is due. So
He's gonna get paid.
he is gonna get paid and then get immediately concussed out of the league, because that's how that works.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. Yep, that's gonna happen. All right, next category is Blame Canada. The Steelers fire Matt Canada and subsequently score a bunch of yardage and beat the corpse of the Cincinnati Bengals.
This was an awful game. It
Blame
was.
Canada.
I watched
There was-
most of this game. This was an awful game.
There were a couple of games this week. We haven't talked about some of them.
No, we haven't gotten there yet.
Really set football back a good
Right.
couple
Yep,
centuries.
yep,
A good
yep,
couple
It was
centuries.
like it was like watching Iowa.
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah,
There was some bad football this week.
there was some bad football.
This is one
How
of them.
about Deontay Johnson just not
Yeah.
recovering that fumble? That was something.
That's a career killer right
Yeah,
there.
the
That's
fumble,
a-
like
walking
ugh.
away from the fumble.
just
That'll
not.
stop. That'll
Well, and listen, the Steelers' track record, right? Like Plaxico Burress was a problem. They got rid of him. Santonio Holmes was a problem. They got rid of him. Antonio Brown was a problem. They got rid of him.
Martavius
Les-
Bryant was a problem.
Martavis
They got
Brown,
rid-
Bryant was a problem. They got rid of him. Chase
Daniel
Claypool was a
Sanders.
problem. They got rid of him.
right.
Daniel Sanders was a problem. They got rid of
Yeah.
him.
This
Yeah,
guy's
it's a
gone.
lot.
He's
It's-
out
Oh,
the
yeah.
door.
100%.
It's bad.
They don't tolerate it.
Only
can't-
Hines Ward survived.
Yeah.
Matt
It's
Canada
Hines-
well, he was good. He was a Hall of Famer. Matt Canada gets fired. before this game. That's the first time a coordinator's been fired by the Steelers in like 50 years or something.
Yes.
Like that. It's insane.
Since the war.
Since the First World War. The war. The other thing that's weird about this game was Baby Hands actually throwing for yardage,
Yeah.
which is odd.
Who knew?
Who knew?
They
Who knew
stacked
Baby
up a
Hands
lot
could
of
do it?
yards, but I'm still not in love with this offense.
No.
Like,
No. Nothing about this looked good.
better than before, but not significantly so.
No, but Baby Hands was out there. He was doing stuff.
Yeah,
He threw
he
more
was.
yardage.
He won a game.
Yep.
Won a game.
And if you look at Pittsburgh's schedule going forward, they could finish with 11 wins.
Oh yeah.
Jesus Christ!
Like
Didn't
all
they
of a
wo-
sudden they could not be not just over 500 but way over 500.
There was one season they were like 10-0 and then like lost in the first round, right?
Wasn't that
Wasn't
long
that
ago?
a
It
few
was
years
like
ago?
3 years ago. Yeah,
A
right.
few years ago, Roethlisberger and them were like 10-0, and everyone was like, "This is fake. This is not
Yeah.
real." That's
This is
kind of how
reverse
they
of
are
that.
now.
yeah, right.
They don't have
I definitely don't
Roethlisberger. But
They're good for them. You don't get to pick who you play, so win all those games. That's fine.
Yeah.
The Bengals, by the way, Jesus Christ, like this,
they're
is,
dead. I mean, they're dead. Come
oh, yeah.
on.
But even they are admitting it. Like it's not
They're dead.
gonna.
They're-
happen,
dead.
so.
They're suffering their divine punishment for their 1 year of success.
Yeah, they should not never have received that. So
Mhm.
the football gods are like, no.
Honestly, their own fucking
I've-
fault.
I've made this comparison before, and it relates exclusively to Joe Burrow because he takes, as we've talked about, singular joy in beating quarterbacks who people think are better than him.
Yes.
He's the minor. He's the what the hell is it? He's the spy in Stratego.
Okay.
He can kill the major commander. Another game that Nathaniel Hackett won't
I
play.
don't like
Never heard of
Stratego.
that. Why is that so fucking complicated? Beep.
He can kill the major commander, but gets killed by everybody else.
Yeah.
Like
right.
that's where the Bengals are, and exclusively as it relates to the Chiefs. They can beat the Chiefs and nobody else.
Yeah. Right.
There was a clip that was surfacing of Matt Canada celebrating a victory, and then Chris Boswell, the kicker. Did you see this one behind him? Like
No.
they're in the locker room, and Matt Canada's like, "Yeah, fuck yeah, we did it!" And Boswell's right behind him, and he goes, "Not because of you." You can find this clip. There's a clip
that's
of
good.
Boswell being like, not because of you. Like everyone fucking hated this guy. So I wouldn't be
Seems
surprised
like
if the team takes off. Speaking of, we talked about it. Speaking of games that set the NFL back, the category is Caleb Williams' dad. He's going to be very interested in this game. The Bears and Vikings on Monday night.
Oh,
Oh
good
my
God.
God.
This is
It was
horrible.
brutal. It was brutal. There
Mhm.
was 6 turnovers in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Fumble after fumble after fumble. The Bears do pull this out, and everyone's like, yeah, see, Justin Fields. Like, he didn't score a fucking touchdown against this inept Vikings team who turned it over 4 times or whatever it was. He couldn't do anything. He fumbled himself.
I know.
What are we doing here? Like, Bears, we know the answer to this question. You're getting the Panthers pick. You're taking Caleb Williams' dad, and you're not looking back.
I
But
mean, it
we're
would seem like that. Yep.
But we're talking about trading down now and doing all this bullshit. Like,
That's no.
stop it.
Don't overthink this.
Which
So-
by
yeah.
the way, is what Caleb Williams' dad wants
He
to
would-
happen.
Oh yeah.
Yes, he would
He's
prefer to
behind
be
all
on the Vikings.
He would
He'd
love to
prefer
see.
for a Vikings move.
Well, he would love to see Tennessee trade into that one pick.
Oh yeah. Right.
You know, I don't know if Nashville is on the Yijan Leon Memorial list of approved cities, but it might be.
Oh, Caleb Williams is gonna practice against a chair. But yeah. Josh Dobbs did not look good, and Kevin O'Connell finally admitted it's not working.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it was never gonna work, man. Josh Dobbs is not actually good. He's not actually good.
No, but he can make himself some money this offseason.
He's
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
make money for sure. You're right about that. He's gonna make
Mhm.
money, but yeah, Vikings are just not. They're just
Nope.
not that good.
No.
Nope, not without Justin Jefferson. They're not.
Yeah.
Who's gonna come back this week? Which why? What are you doing?
Will he?
Are you?
He's got the offseason in his sights right now.
Yeah, don't do that, Justin.
He's got his like trade Uno card, just
Yeah,
ready to slap that down.
He's getting moved to the Eagles.
Every time somebody asks him about playing, he just practices his Johnny Carson golf swing.
Yeah. Ew.
Well, he might be back this week. Caleb Williams' dad, who knows where he stands?
Mhm.
Who knows where he stands at this point? But the Bears are looking good for that number 1 pick. And Marvin Harrison Jr., maybe.
Yeah, right.
Which would be odd. Like, why don't you just do that? Why would you not just do that?
I know.
That
It's
makes
just
the
so
most sense.
simple. Just do
Yeah.
it. You've never had a good quarter. When's the last time they had a good quarterback? Jay Cutler.
No.
Do you
Sid
consider him a
Luckman.
Sid Luckman, right? That's
Sid
the
Sid
big one,
Luckman is the last
John
good quarterback of the
Harbaugh?
Bears.
Yeah, right.
Nope.
Jim McMahon?
Definitely not. Jim McMahon
Sid-
was great at doing this, just turning and handing the ball
He
off.
was
That's all
good,
he was great at.
goodish.
Yeah.
Like, you've never had a good quarterback. Take the best quarterback and the best wide receiver in the same year and just figure it out.
Mhm.
Is there
It's
like
easy.
a cosmic discrepancy where if the Bears took Caleb Williams, he would suck?
Yeah.
Like,
he's
are
gonna
they
suck.
not allowed to have a good quarterback?
Right.
If
You're
we
only- you can only
establish
have
this,
Good running backs. That's all you get, Chicago.
George
yeah,
Howell-
you know,
The ghost of George Hallis is just out there like, no,
Yeah.
you can't have nice things. All right. This category used to be 2 and 2 forever. It's also back in it. The Falcons beat the Saints. Somehow the
Yeah.
Falcons are the top of the NFC South for right now. How the fuck did the Saints blow this? I have no idea.
Is also, the Falcons are not like that Seahawks team with Marshawn Lynch that went 7-9
No.
and then
Yeah,
and then
right.
stunned the world by winning a playoff game. That's not who this team is.
No, they're playing Desmond Ritter again, and he wasn't
Mhm.
good again.
He was horrible. He was
Go figure.
absolutely
Bad
horrible.
again.
Yeah.
But they somehow beat the Saints, and Jameis Winston is dancing on the sideline during this meltdown. He
Oh my
was just
God.
like, yeah. He loves being a backup quarterback. He
Just
loves it.
Thinking about the seafood aisle.
Oh my
He
God.
like honestly, this whole it's a division game, so shit is wacky in division games. I get it, but like,
Yeah.
none of someone's gonna win this with a losing record. It's gonna be one of those years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. It's going to be Saints or Falcons. It's going to happen. Colts beat the Bucks. Colts are back in it somehow.
Yeah.
The Bucks. I'm convinced they
Forsaken
cannot score more than 17 points with Baker. Baker Mayfield has never scored more than 17 points on offense.
Ever.
I mean,
He's
honestly,
never done
but-
it.
But here's the Colts could well make the playoffs. Here's the problem. Say it out loud and see how it sounds in your own head.
Doesn't sound good.
Playoff quarterback Gardner Minshew. None of
Doesn't
that
sound
sounds true.
I have a theory. Not really a theory. I'm a hopeful projection that he ends up the Jets backup next year because I think
Why
he's
not?
honestly perfect for that. So,
Why
I
not?
mean, this is right up there with when Greg, not Killer Greg, other Greg,
Mhm.
predicted he's like, there's no chance Blake Bortles is going to be good because his name is Blake Bortles.
Yeah.
Gardner Minshew is not that far removed from this.
Right.
Blake Bortles.
His first name is Gardner. Come on.
Yeah.
All right. Colts win. Jags win over the Texans,
Yeah.
which
The Jags might actually be good. I don't know. They're hard
we
to
don't
judge.
know.
They're
We can
so
never
hard.
know.
To gauge.
They're hard to judge.
I love
really
your
hard.
your description of Trevor Lawrence as a B+ player is so
But
dead
but
on.
the problem with Trevor Lawrence isn't that he's a B+ player. The problem with Trevor Lawrence is that he's a B+ Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I just have zero faith that this team gets to the playoffs and does anything.
Anything.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
And if they do, it will be because of the other Josh Allen.
Right.
Because
Yes,
that guy's
maybe.
a baller.
He is.
Right.
Who's also a free agent. So that might be a problem because you're going to have to pay Trevor soon. So
That will be a
because you can't let him go.
No.
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 Yeah.
No,
so-
Trevor Lawrence is going to be the new. He's going to be the new Matthew Stafford with the Lions.
Yeah.
He's too good to get rid of, but not good enough to win.
But
If
just,
this keeps up, I still have faith in Trevor Lawrence, but he hasn't
do I.
shown it yet.
and just
He
good
has
enough
not.
to eat up your salary cap for and
He's still
prevent you
Trevor
from
Lawrence.
getting
Trevor,
anybody.
yeah, Trevor Lawrence is still solidly above the Orton line.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
I mean, last year was very confusing for me because it's like he wins that big comeback game, and it's like, okay, here
Yeah,
we
right.
are. We
He's
finally
arrived.
did it. And then it bloop, right back down against
Yeah,
the
yep.
hapless, broken ankle Patrick
And at this
Mahomes
point,
Chiefs.
too, like,
Like,
it's
you should have won that game.
Yeah, you can't even use inexperience as a point because he's
No,
played
you
a
can't.
shit ton at
He's
this
played
point.
a ton of games.
Yeah.
And
Right.
he's played in huge college games. So, like,
Right.
he's
Yes.
he's been in it. All right. Next category is the worst football game ever played, which is like the third week in a row that we've
Yeah, I
done
know.
this.
We keep hitting this.
We keep doing it.
And
The
usually
worst,
these two teams is involved.
the worst football game ever played was the Giants beating the Patriots by the Patriots missing a field goal
Oh my
to take it
God.
to overtime. One touchdown. I listened to this game on the radio, which I always enjoy. I have to say, I always enjoy the Giants radio network.
Mhm.
Bob Papa, really good. He was hilarious in this game. It was just like Mac Jones throws an interception. God, that was awful. How can you not bench him right now? That's what he said. And then he's like, Zappy's coming in for sure. And of course, Zappy came in, and then Zappy threw an equally awful interception.
Well, I like that he gave him a glimmer of hope first and then took it away. Like he looked great on that first drive.
Okay,
And then
all
looked
right. Nope.
absolutely worse than Mac Jones on every drive.
Awful
after
interception. Oh boy, this Patriots team is getting a quarterback.
Two thoughts here. One, what's the chance Bill O'Brien resigns at the end of the year to go be the offensive coordinator for Texas A&M on Mike Elko's staff? And
he's gonna get it.
Like, I will say this: New Jersey's own Tommy DeVito has now won 2 consecutive games. This dude has not only reopened bar, he is standing on the bar in a collared popped pink shirt and a Von Dutch trucker hat, just handing out Jaeger bombs. As many as you can imagine.
He has taken over ownership
of bar.
The bartender at bar had never heard of a Jaeger bomb prior to the last 2 weeks, and Tommy has taught him how to make.
So, do we think Tina's come back? Or is she?
She's actually dating Tommy DeVito.
Tommy DeVito, right? I like that. Right?
Yeah, she's broken up with Dayball. She's dating Tommy DeVito.
Dayball
doesn't know what to do.
He's back playing Kingdom Hearts in his PS2.
He's playing a sad version of Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts also too complicated for Nathaniel Hackett.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you ever play video? Oh, there's too many buttons.
There's too many buttons. I don't understand.
Oh man,
too difficult. I don't like that.
Why make it so hard? It's like Chinese checkers.
Which I hate.
I hate that too. Simplify the game. Golden Zone.
Golden.
Hungry Hippos.
Yeah, he loves that one. That's just challenge salad to it every day.
That guy's got an unopened, hermetically sealed Crossfire somewhere in his closet.
I love Crossfire.
Unopened.
Crossfire was great.
The best part about Crossfire is you lost like all the balls immediately. It was just, you find them on your couch 10 years later.
Kind of like having Zach Wilson as your quarterback. You just find these balls all over the house.
I don't really watch our games, but if I did,
I can't watch that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. See, life is like Crossfire sealed up. You just want to wait till your Aaron Rodgers, aka Crossfire, is open for a special occasion.
Man, when Aaron Rodgers comes back next year, he doesn't even have to call plays. He doesn't have to worry about it cutting off because he's not going to do it.
He's not worried about Hackett. No. All right. Final category. Chargers got a Charger. My God. We have a Chargers fan in our inner circle.
Yep.
We have a Chargers fan. He said to me earlier, he made fun of me about Frank Reich. Fine. Made fun of me about Frank Reich. And then I said, well, your coach should be fired. And then he said, I don't want that. I want them to keep losing under Staley. And then we'll figure it out later.
Well,
okay.
I mean, if they haven't fired him yet, they're not going to fire him.
Yeah, it's the Chargers. They're not going to pay dead money to a coach. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
They charge like $400 for parking at that one season. They can't afford it. Oh my God. Baltimore's defense is really good. The Chargers are really stupid and dumb and not good. And they lose. I mean, the Baltimore's a better team, so it's not surprising, but ouch. All right. Sad boy boat. Number 1 nominee, Frank Reich.
Yeah.
Gotta be a sad boy. Yeah. He's got to go on there. Got any other sad boys for me?
He'll do it with dignity and pride in himself.
And grace. Yeah, he
fell on his sword.
He did an interview the day he was fired. I mean, who does that?
Frank does. Of course.
Who does that? What are you doing, Frank? Get out of there. All right. 3 more spots. Sad boy boat. Who else is sad this week?
Gabe Davis.
Yeah.
Gabe Davis.
Gabe Davis is a good one. Left and right is hard.
His first grade teacher who couldn't figure out how to teach him left versus right. Gabe Davis. Okay, that's 2 sad boys.
Hey, look at that.
Oh, more cats. Look at all the cats.
I'm gonna go ahead and nominate Rudy Gobert, who got put in a headlock by a man 6 inches shorter than him and had no retaliation.
That's a good one.
You got put in a sleeper hole in that game.
The 2 least likable players in basketball got in a fight.
I love it. I love basketball fights.
Does Connor McDavid go on, or is he? He looks pretty depressed these days.
Based on what I heard in Edmonton, yes.
Yeah. He does not look like he wanted to be there.
No.
Ooh. What about Matt Canada?
Okay. There you go.
Yeah. Okay, I'd buy Matt Canada.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
Anybody else? Derek Carr?
No. He's not sad enough.
Mac Jones, because his girlfriend dumped him for the 4th time for Bailey Zappi.
All right, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, time for broadcasting moments of the week. Real quick. Hold on. Not so quick. All right, here we go. All right, starting with this video of CMC, Christian McCaffrey, getting his helmet robotic head bolted back on.
Right.
Like 2 screwdrivers.
Yeah.
We got the waxing gibbous stats. The waxing gibbous moon. Did you know about this at all?
No, I had no idea up until an hour before kickoff, and I threw money on it. So,
since the NFL merger, the Lions were 0-12 on Thanksgiving because the moon is in waxing gibbous. 2023, 2020, 2018, 2012, 2009, 2007, 2004, 93, 1982, 1977, 74, 68, 66. My God.
Crazy.
I'm not a huge subscriber to these things, but I will say my wife, who is a nurse, is totally on board with people are crazy during a full moon. Sure. And is also totally on board with, like, people do crazy things when Mercury is in retrograde.
Okay.
So why not?
Yeah.
All right, we've got Deron Bland returning that pick 6. We've got Jared Goff looking like the guy from Home Alone
Daniel
with the iron.
Everybody.
Stern, yeah,
You
right.
think he'd make the show today?
Daniel Stern and Jared Goff, who knew they were comparable, but they are apparently. I love Daniel Stern, especially in Home Alone 2. That guy is killing it in that movie. He is awesome in that movie. JSN with an amazing catch in a game that was a blowout, but that guy's got something. He's got some sauce. The Cowboys going into the Salvation Army bucket and bringing out turkey legs. That was fun. That was planned, but fun. Dak really wanted to eat a turkey leg. He really wanted that.
This is the highlight of his season.
Yeah, right. Jerry's very excited. Hail Mary pick 6.
Oh my
God.
Was
fun.
It was so frustrating.
Kyle's dad. This is awesome. What a moment. Kyle's dad. Look at this guy.
Yeah.
Kyle Shanahan's dad, Mike Shanahan.
You know, the
older
look at that.
I say this without any qualifications or inferences. The older he gets, the more he looks like Mike Pence.
Yeah,
he does kind of look like Mike Pence.
He's so grumpy looking.
Yeah. Why is he so mad? They were blowing him out. This was fun. This was really the moment of the week was when I was watching Red Zone and Scott Hansen. You can hear an alarm going off in the background. He's like, "Oh, we have to evacuate the studio. We are not going to be able to do the touchdown montage. I'm so sorry." You can hear like, "Please get to the nearest stairwell. Please get to the nearest stairwell in the background." But he did. Like 5 minutes later, he came back and was like, "It's safe for me to be back." Like, are you sure? You can still hear the alarm in the background. Hilarious moment. Frank Reich's out. We knew that. And then this fucking play by Minnesota. This fucking play, which they added. We can't hear it, but they added the Benny Hill music to Minnesota's last play.
Video on that one.
Yep. Which brought me back to Antonio Brown, one of his better-ish moments when he almost returned one of these.
Yes.
Like 10 years ago.
Right.
But he stepped out at like the 4-yard line. and didn't win.
It happened while I was away. Did you guys talk about the open that NBC did for the Raiders Jets Sunday night game, where they found the actress who played Heidi and had her do the open?
No, that's
It
It
awesome.
was unbelievable. It was really, really well done.
Wow,
Wow.
that's fantastic.
All right. As you know, Greg's bets will never happen again. He's doing them silently under ambient circumstances, so we have no idea what he's doing. He's just losing money. He's just straight up losing money.
Hemorrhaging money. Yeah.
He's just hemorrhaging his money. Time for the Stripe Spiral.
Yay!
And there's like 3 weeks
There's-
of content we have to go
There's
through.
a lot to go over.
That
we're
Saturday,
gonna-
I watched a lot between Thursday through Saturday, or however many days it
Yeah.
was. And I was like, "There's a lot going on here."
Yes. Okay. So we'll try and make some of this as quick as we can. First of all, Jimbo gets fired, which we all knew was going to happen,
Yes,
and then
Jimbo was
Texas
fired.
A&M names as their head coach immediately. Say it with me, Mike Elko from Duke University.
Oh, boy.
Duke University.
Mike Elko is a really good coach, by the way.
Mhm.
Is he going to be a really good coach fast enough for the people at A&M? Well, we'll see. Dino Babers fired.
Yeah.
Matt Rule misses bowl eligibility at Nebraska.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not his last 2 games.
Definitely
Big
will be
points-
fired.
Big points for Ryan.
I love it.
But okay, fast forwarding. So Auburn completely forgets how to defend a pass at the end of the game. Like, the one thing you can't do is what Auburn does, and that's what separates a 5-loss team from a national championship contending team. Jalen Milroe, who couldn't find his ass from the hole in the ground, suddenly makes the greatest throw of his life.
Yeah, right.
Juju slip behind the coverage, and Alabama survives. Rivalry weekend is weird, man. It always is. There's always stuff that happens that you don't expect. You know, the House of Brahm, again, with a great opportunity to make a case for themselves as a nationally contending team, whizzes it down their leg against Kentucky. And
Nope, they
Kentucky
lose.
doesn't suck. It's not the
Right.
Kentucky of old, but they shouldn't have lost that game.
Mhm.
So we're set up into a champion. Oh, and by the way, Michigan wins again, and all their assistant coaches keep talking about Jim Harbaugh like he's dead.
Free him.
Like that first
God.
game they won. I
When
know
the
it was
guy
like-
cried,
I know.
first
So
game they won
bad.
where that dude cried. It's like, bro, Jim Harbaugh's alive.
Yeah. He's
Like,
still
he
an
didn't-
asshole.
he didn't die. Like,
that
he's
hasn't
Oh.
changed.
watching you at home.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Ugh.
I don't get it. Michigan. I say this as a college football Ronin. I have no one team that I'm a fan of. Michigan and Ohio State are the most unlikable teams in the country.
Oh yeah.
Both of them.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
that's a root for the meteor situation.
yeah.
But that sets us up for a fascinating championship weekend. We'll work from the
Oh,
bottom
yeah.
up. So Tulane, if they beat SMU, will, in theory, be the group of 5 designee for the New Year's 6 bowl games. If they lose to SMU and Liberty wins, then presumably Liberty would jump Tulane as an undefeated team. They would then go to a group of 6 New Year's game where they would probably get smoked.
I'm going to stop you right there.
Yeah.
You said if Liberty.
Okay, Liberty's going to beat New Mexico
So
State.
let me
yes.
just show you right now. There's only one team right now.
Oh my
He's gonna take it all
God.
the way, and that's Liberty Flames. # Flame on, and we are going all the way, baby.
Are you kidding me?
I love
Saving
this.
that joke for 3
You have a
weeks.
Liberty shirt? You've been saving that for almost 2 hours?
Damn right. What do you think I had to leave before the show started? I forgot I had to put it on.
Oh my God.
No, but don't look too far ahead, because I don't think this would happen. I think SMU would go as a 2-loss champion if Tulane loses to SMU, and if Liberty loses to New Mexico State,
Shut your horn.
and if Toledo beats Miami of Ohio in the MAC championship. Don't be shocked if Toledo ends up being the group of 5 champion
God.
that ends up going. And all of this because James Madison is ineligible
Yeah.
for the postseason.
Right. Who are they? Are
By the way, big ups to Delaware, who's making the jump to the FBS next year. They're going to join CUSA. Go Blue Hens. Rich Gannon is proud.
Yep.
Now, here's where this gets interesting. If you're the committee, what you want to happen this weekend is you desperately want Washington, Georgia, Michigan, and Florida State to win.
Mhm.
That makes your job easy. You have 4 undefeated Power Conference champions, which has never happened before. Those are your 4 playoff teams. Everybody else can pound sand.
Right.
Off you go. Not one of those teams, if they lose, I think is a mortal lock to make the playoffs.
Mhm.
Georgia has the best argument if they were to lose to Alabama in the SEC championship game. But even Georgia, I think, would need help. Because if Florida State is the least of the 4 teams, they haven't looked. Their best game was the first game of the year when they beat LSU. They haven't looked convincing other than that, and they're missing their quarterback. So if Florida State wins, then a one-loss Georgia would probably still be out. I don't think you could keep Florida State out at that juncture. But let's go crazy for a second. Let's say all 4 of those teams lose, which is also unlikely. So all of a sudden, you would be left with the following one-loss teams. Oregon would be a conference champion. Texas would be a conference champion. Bama would be a conference champion.
Oh, man.
And then you would have Washington, Georgia, Michigan, Florida State, and Ohio State, all with one loss. Now, Ohio State's probably out. Because what are they going to say? Their only loss would be to Michigan, who was in the conference championship game.
Mm-hmm.
So Ohio State's probably out as of right now. Florida State, if they lose, would probably be out, losing to 2-loss Louisville in the conference championship game. To me, at that point, if they all lose, you would have Oregon, Texas, and Bama would automatically be in as one-loss conference champions. And then I think you'd have Georgia.
Yeah, probably.
I think Georgia would be the 4th team. It'd be them or Washington, depending on how you feel about Washington. But this could get real easy or real complicated real fast.
Mm-hmm.
If any 2 of those teams lose, it starts to go crazy because it feels like the team that's going to get screwed here is Texas. Texas has more wins against the playoff top 25 than anybody except for Georgia. Than anybody except for Alabama. And it feels like they could win out and still not end up making the playoffs as a one-loss Big 12 champion. So this could get phenomenally interesting. If you're going to watch one game this weekend, watch the SEC championship game because that's the game upon which everything else hinges.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to watch 2 games this weekend,
Liberty.
watch the Big Ten championship game because I want to see how bad Iowa can make Ohio State or can make Michigan and football as a whole look. Iowa's not going to win that game, but that game could finish 15-9.
Oh my God.
Who's that? Iowa's got like they've got a deceptive in lunch pail cornerback, which
Yes, do.
blows me away every time I see this guy.
Yes, they do.
He's good. He's really good.
Really good.
Yeah, right.
And they also have the longest tenured coach in Division I college football in Kirk Ferentz. And he's going to save his job again by winning the Big Ten West. But this team is not fun to watch. And now they played early in the year. Iowa played one real offense and they got smoked like 33-0. I think it was against like Penn State. But this game could be awful. This could be an ugly game with Michigan.
I'm convinced they keep him around because he's the only college football coach who consistently puts out NFL quality offensive linemen.
Yes.
And the NFL wants him, needs that, so they just keep him there.
And listen, Iowa knows what they are, right?
Yeah,
like, who are they going to get that's better than Kirk Ferentz?
Mm-hmm.
It'd be like if Kansas State had fired Bill Snyder, which they did. Which they did, and then they brought him back. But it's like, or he retired and then he was brought back, whatever. But like, what are you going to do? The other interesting development is Shedeur Sanders has a fracture in his back.
Oh, God.
So depending on how long that's going to take, he might end up returning for his senior season in Colorado.
Yeah.
Especially if he doesn't want to play for the Patriots, which is just about where he's slated to go right now.
I enjoyed how his dad said, like, he won't be going to the NFL. He wants to stay with me. And he was just like, I don't want your life, Daddy.
I don't want your life.
So we are set up for a fascinating championship weekend. I would love to see the cards fall in such a way that Texas gets in.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I don't, because they're really good. Like, they're really good.
Yeah.
They smoked Texas Tech by 50 over the weekend.
I saw. Yeah.
But I don't know. They're ranked, I mean, whatever it is, Ohio State just lost and is still ranked ahead of them. So I don't know. If the 4 undefeated teams win out, the 4 undefeated teams will get in. If any one of them loses, it's open season.
Mm-hmm.
Is it funny if Harbaugh's first game back, he loses this game to Iowa and gets knocked out of the playoffs?
Yes, is the short answer.
Okay. That's
I
might be rooting for that.
I want Iowa to win this game so bad,
Oh,
just to watch them win a game, 9-5, and Because Iowa, by the way, is drawing dead. Iowa's not going to the playoff no matter what.
Right.
Mhm.
They're a 2-loss
They
team
have
with
nothing
no
to lose.
offense. Yeah, even if they're the Big Ten champ, they're not going. Louisville's in the same boat. So is Oklahoma State if they win the Big 12. They know they're not going to the playoff. Their best hope is to win the conference championship.
I appreciate like Iowa's tactic of dragging other teams down with them.
They're really good
like,
at it, by the
they
way.
go into the bog like in the never-ending story, and that horse dies. Spoiler.
Take him to the deep water,
Right.
drowning you. Oh
I
my
mean, every
God.
time Iowa plays, bet the under.
Yeah, right.
Every time.
Can't wait to see it. Can't wait to see it. All right, time for a football foobar. Who's going in this week? You gave us a little tease earlier. Who's going in this
Mhm.
week?
So, kind of weird. He's already been mentioned on this podcast once tonight already. So,
No
some would
way.
argue,
Bobby Petrino again?
yeah, twice.
Jameis Winston again?
Some would argue it's a little overdue. And he's honestly one of the most notorious figures in the NFL. But Drew and I have always had this conversation. If you're writing a history of the NFL, do you have to mention this guy or this player? And yes, you absolutely do have to mention the one we're going to induct tonight. His most notable off the field exploit was so horrendous, people were calling for a lifetime ban when it happened.
I know who it is.
Managed to rebuild his career kind of toward the end. But what's strange is now he's viewed in almost a positive light, especially amongst players, younger players who idolized him growing up, played him in Madden. Today, we're going to induct Michael Vick into football.
Oh.
So I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go into the story of Michael Vick. I feel like any listener to this podcast knows the story. Okay, came out of the NFL, took it by storm, immediately revolutionized the quarterback position and how it was played and viewed in the NFL when it was mostly pocket passers at that time. Until his downfall, really in 2007. Everything was going great for him. And there's a little things that popped up, and we're going to be talking about those. But in terms of a man who really was the face of the NFL for a couple of years, it's amazing what happened to him. And I'm not even going to go into the dogfighting thing. I really don't. Like, once again, everyone knows about that. It was horrible. I really don't want to talk about it anyway. But it boils down to the crux of what Michael Vick did there to get suspended from the NFL and then obviously serve jail time. That shit was not funny. The stuff he did before that shit was funny. And that's why he's getting inducted. So let's start. Let's start in 2004. So several years into Vick's career, he had an incident at an airport security place, I think in Atlanta. They spotted him stealing a TSA agent's watch. Like there's like cameras and they see him swipe it, right? So the TSA agent filed a police report. He then claimed that he was harassed by the Atlanta Falcons' unofficial fixer, who's Billy White Shoes Johnson. And he said Michael Vick sent him after him to interfere with the investigation. And I love this because I wish this would happen like now, but with like a team that like their alumni doesn't give a shit. Like if something happened to the Bears, then they have to send like Curtis Enos after somebody. Like that to me is the equivalent of sending Billy White Shoes Johnson after somebody in 2004. Now listen, while stealing someone's jewelry when you're already a millionaire is a little weird, and usually only reserved for like Russian oligarchs. What's coming up is probably my favorite story of Michael Vick in this era. So in 2005, it came to light that Vick had given a woman genital herpes and had lied to her about having it. So once she started showing the signs of genital herpes, she approached him about it. And he admitted that he also had genital herpes but was seeking treatment both in and out of the country under a pseudonym, Ron Mexico, which was everywhere for that one season. People had jerseys made of it. There was signs everywhere. It was like a wrestling event. They loved to mess with him. Vick was still getting treatment throughout his entire time for his herpes or clap, crotch crickets, whatever he had. In 2007, he was caught also at an airport security terminal with a water bottle that has it's like a bottom that you screw, like you unscrew, right? And people use it to smuggle drugs or like dinosaur embryos or something. Like that's typically what you do with those.
Dotson, we got Dotson here.
Vick got caught with it and then said, listen, there's nothing in it. I use it to like keep my jewelry, which I assume meant like TSA watches that he stole, and go through airport security with it. So once again, just a series of stupid things up till this point. Now, literally a couple of weeks before the whole dog fighting story broke. He was scheduled to be honored in Washington, D.C. for his foundation's work on after-school projects, which in and itself is a very important thing, and it's great to have him be recognized for it. Vic missed his flight, not once, not twice, but thrice, saying that he overslept every single one and left his mother to accept the award on his behalf, which was strange. But like I said, the news was coming. And so people thought what he was doing was trying to like stay under the radar, which is weird for somebody who's been on the cover of Madden to try to do. Like he's thinking that if he just hides, the story's going to go away. Obviously, it didn't. He went to jail for 2.5 years. Went bankrupt in jail, declared bankruptcy like Michael Scott. He came out of jail and kind of had a little bit of resurgence with the Eagles. Like, you know, he had a couple good years with them.
Yeah, good.
Wrapped up his career with the Steelers. And the weird thing about in the Jets too, I think it was the Jets were the second last year, and retired in 2015, which that's weird to me. Like I had to read that again. Like 2015 seems not that long ago that Michael Vick has been, no longer, like in the NFL, but that was very recent to me. Now the NFL is going to make sure Vick is nowhere near the Hall of Fame. They don't want that anywhere near what they do. But his style of play really did revolutionize the NFL, and a lot of players from Patrick Mahomes to Justin Herbert, a lot of guys will cite Michael Vick as an inspiration to them when they were playing. Vic still shows up every now and then. You see him on like he does like podcasts where he talks about like upcoming season projections off like NFL radio shows in the offseason will happen.
Yeah.
He's done a lot of coaching. What's up?
He's on one of Fox's pregame shows.
Right.
Yeah.
He does coaching like seminars now too, like both in the NFL and college. And he's publicly talked about how he wants to get into coaching during I think it was the latest XFL team, the XFL season. He was supposed to be one of the coaches. He was supposed to coach like one of those squads and then backed out of it for whatever reason. But he was supposed to be a head coach of an XFL team. So I think that's going to be his next logical step. I bet, a college football team gives him a shot as a quarterback coach or offensive coordinator. So
Virginia Tech could use him.
Yeah, right. Go back to Virginia Tech. So Coach Mexico on the horizon. So Michael Vick.
Coach Mexico.
Welcome to Football Fubar. Long overdue.
I'm not going to go too far out on a limb for Michael Vick, but I always felt bad for him and that all the hype surrounding him coming out of college, he literally could have won 2 Super Bowls and still been viewed as a disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
True.
I mean, it's hard to remember now because it was so long ago, but like the hype around him was so deafening.
Absolutely.
That anything short of being a top 5 quarterback of all time would have been a disappointment. But I remember distinctly a much younger Mark making a significant amount of money on the game where he beat Brett Favre's Packers in the wild card round.
Oh.
Yes, nice. I did.
Mark was paying for Denny's that night.
Wow.
Yes, and honestly, though, when he was playing, my God, he was fun to watch.
Yeah,
and there's always that, I think there was I don't want to get like too. I think there was a degree of racism against him in the NFL, where he was always labeled as a running quarterback, kind of like a running back first and a quarterback second.
Yes,
and Lamar gets a little of that too, for I think honestly similar reasons. And he worked early in his career to eliminate that narrative. And by the end of it, up until when he went to prison, I don't think you could say that about him. He was more of a passer. And I think like that, it does show like dedication to what he did to get better. Obviously, what he did with the Dogs is a piece of shit, and that'll always hang over him. But like I said, he did work hard to get where he was, and I was amazed at how many people when I was researching this really do cite him as their hero, as a guy who like, oh, I really want to emulate him and how I play. It's amazing.
Yeah,
Jalen Hurts was another one. We talk about him all the time. So, still an idiot, though.
Yeah, he was in my division forever, so he tortured me. Every time Panthers played against him, it was like, oh, God, here we go. Here we go again.
Early 2000 Falcons uniforms.
So bad.
Bowling shirt ones?
Yes, right.
So they had like 10 uniforms.
Yeah,
And-
not as bad
and
as the Bucks alarm clocks, but
it's
still.
funny you mentioned the Bucks. Mark would also remember a certain 2003 fantasy football draft that Michael Vick was memorably a part of,
Yes, he was.
where a guy in our league in his first 3 picks went Michael Vick, quarterback, took Kevin Johnson, the wide receiver out of Syracuse who was playing for the Browns,
Mhm.
and then took the Bucks defense with the 3rd round pick.
Ugh.
Imagine being in a fantasy league and taking a defense in the 3rd round.
Ugh.
He also
Yeah.
took, as if you couldn't tell he was a Syracuse fan, he also drafted Rob Conrad at the end
Yes.
of that fantasy draft.
Right.
Rob Conrad. Oh my god.
The best thing he did was the following year, he didn't make the draft, and the bot drafted for him, and I think
Yes,
he won the league.
He
or
did. He
something.
won the championship.
Right.
because of the bot.
Yes,
of the
because
bot.
nothing. If he was involved, he wouldn't have won.
No.
Jeez. Oh, Michael Vick. He's a polarizing guy.
Yeah, he is. But I feel like he needed to be involved. Honestly, like I said, not
His
even
brother was in first, right?
the Rod
yeah.
Mexico thing was just fucking hilarious.
Ron Mexico
I
was
forgot about
unbelievable
that.
when that came out.
Forgot about that. That was so funny.
Mhm.
Welcome to Football Foobar, Michael Vick. All right, time for a game ball. You got any game balls for me, Drew?
I almost gave my game ball to CM Punk for breaking WWE's viewership
yeah.
record.
Oh,
but
boy.
but then I remembered I'm giving my game ball to former University of Nevada quarterback Cody Fajardo, who was fun to watch in college because he was the MVP of the 110th Grey Cup. Viva
Oh.
l'Alouettes!
Wow.
That's
Today
your
I learned
champion,
the Alouettes won the
Montreal,
Grey
baby.
Cup. So,
Oh, man.
who did they play?
Winnipeg.
Okay, the
Winnipeg,
Blue Bombers, right?
who I learned, depending on if Ottawa has a team or not, is what conference Winnipeg is in. If the Red Blacks are fielding a team, Winnipeg plays in the Western Conference. If Ottawa, for whatever reason, can't financially make it work, Winnipeg plays in the Eastern Conference.
I love that
Okay.
Ottawa's team is the Red Blacks.
The Red Blacks.
Right.
Okay.
I kind of dig that.
It's fun. All right,
So,
Mark, you
Cody
got
Fajardo.
I like it. You got a game ball for me, Mark?
I mean, I was going to give it to Jordan Love for his 3 touchdown performance. Really kind of showed up when he was on, the brightest stage of his career, and of his career so far, and he looked great. But I mean, it's got to go to everybody on Liberty, right? I mean, that's the thing. It's got to go every
The Liberties.
player on #FlameOn. So your
Their
future
quarterback's
national
good.
champions.
Wow. I'm giving my game ball to Tommy DeVito, baby.
Hey!
He has almost as many touchdowns as Bryce Young in half as many games this season.
So many Jaeger bombs.
So many Jaeger bombs for Tommy. Hey, Mom, make me the chicken cutlet real quick. I got to go down the bar.
Tina's there.
Record the Knicks for me. Go, Julius Randle.
Yeah.
He's the only guy who likes Julius Randle. Doesn't think he should be traded. Every other person's like, please trade Julius Randle. I love Julius. I got like 12 of his throwback jerseys.
His
Go.
kid's fucking adorable. It's great.
Go Knicks.
Right, yes.
Go Knicks. All right, Tommy DeVito's mine. Time for plugs. Bloody good music. What do we got?
Chris with an interesting piece on Dream Theater's reunification and what it means if the band reunifies, but it means nothing has changed.
Okay.
Reunify.
And we are coming to the end here. I have done all of my listening for the year. I know which 11 albums will be on my end of year list. Now I have to listen to them to put them in order. It's a little alarming that I don't know who number 1 is right now. Normally by this time of the year I would hope to know that. I have about a week and a half to figure it out. But I've narrowed the list down to the final 11. One brief, because before I got called away for a couple of weeks, I was going to write a review of it, but I didn't. So here's your 10-second review of an album by Frostbite Orc Kings, which is allegedly the first metal album ever composed by AI.
Oh, okay.
Which makes it a fascinating principle. I was like, oh boy, here we go, composed by AI. I should have guessed this. It is the most generic paint-by-numbers metal album you've ever heard in your life.
Yep.
And I should have guessed that when I read that an algorithm had written it. So there you go.
Okay. All right. looking forward to that. Our other plug is the TGIF podcast. We have the new one out, which has been out for a couple of weeks, but we are currently constructing the Christmas episode,
Yes,
which
Christmas.
is always a highlight.
About our third Christmas episode, right?
Our fourth
Fourth Christmas. Okay, there
Our
we
fourth
go.
Christmas episode.
We got a Sabrina Christmas episode we're going to be talking about.
We got
I
a
like that.
Clueless episode.
We got a Clueless. Yes, right.
Season 3 of Clueless.
Digging deep.
That's digging deep. I'm like,
You
we got to
for
bring
not picking
Clueless
Full
back
House.
in.
Yeah. So,
No Full House. Yes.
no, I don't need to see those kids again.
Go find the video that we put out, TJF Pod, of the disturbing children of Full House, where we talk about how Michelle's going to bury Comet out back under a cement mixer.
Mm-hmm. Stephanie
And
has voodoo dolls.
Stephanie has voodoo dolls.
DJ obviously was in-
DJ was in Vietnam and has ears. Or maybe Black Hawk Down. I forget. Where did we land on that?
She's been. She doesn't limit herself to one word. She's a merc.
Right.
So
Right. Yeah, they're all disturbing. They're all disturbing children. So we're gonna record that soon. So look forward to that. That's always a highlight. Look
I
forward
love
to
the Christmas episodes. Those are so much fun.
They're always the best. And then the Vince McMahon, Vince McMahon sexual instructional video may come back. It may come back. You never know. All right, we're out of here. That's it. Big matchups coming up next week. Fantasy football play. Anybody in the fantasy football playoffs? Did you make it?
In theory, I am, but I don't know if ours start this weekend.
Yeah, I don't think they
Okay.
do.
All right, mine's 2 weeks away if I make it.
Yeah.
I have a low percentage chance because Jalen Hurts scored that rushing touchdown. Fucking Eagles. Oh, we didn't talk about the Eagles and how much I think they're going to become the next like hated team. Maybe we'll talk about that next week. But like Nick Sirianni, I think is pretty hated at this point. Like people do not like that guy.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes. But next week, week 13, we're gonna know some things because the Eagles are playing the 49ers. So we're gonna know some things. And we're looking forward to that. So peace out. We'll see you next week. Go Liberty.
Bye.
Go Iowa. Go Iowa.